Hi, my name is Christoph, Tantra massage therapist for women since 2018. One of the things I've noticed over the years, both in my work and in my personal life, is that many people genuinely long for more love, more connection, more support, and more intimacy in their lives. Yet, at the same time, many of those same people seem to struggle when these things are actually offered to them. Perhaps someone gives them a compliment and they immediately dismiss it. Someone offers help and they say, "No, no, I'm fine." Someone wants to take care of them, support them, or simply be there for them. And instead of relaxing into that experience, they become uncomfortable. And what I find fascinating is that most people are not even aware that this is happening. They believe they want to receive more from life, but when life actually presents them with an opportunity to receive, something inside contracts. Over the years, I've become increasingly interested in understanding why this happens, because I don't think it's simply a personality trait. I think it often goes much deeper than that. I believe it has a lot to do with self worth, with our nervous system, with the roles we've learned to play in life, and with how safe it feels to let go of control and allow ourselves to be vulnerable. One of the things I've noticed during Tantra massage sessions is that some women find it surprisingly difficult to simply receive. Not because they don't want to receive, in fact, many of them arrive specifically because they long for more connection, more relaxation, more presence, or simply a moment where they don't have to take care of anyone else. And yet, when that moment finally arrives, it isn't always easy. The body may struggle to relax, the mind may remain active. There can be thoughts about whether they're taking up too much space, whether they deserve this, whether they should be doing something instead of simply receiving. And I think that's because many of us have spent most of our lives in a state of doing. We're solving problems, making decisions, helping others, taking responsibility, planning ahead, and trying to keep everything under control. We become very familiar with that way of being. Receiving asks something different from us. It asks us to pause the constant doing for a moment, to soften, to open, to allow ourselves to experience what is being offered without immediately trying to manage it, earn it, or give something back. And for people who have spent years taking care of everyone else, that can feel surprisingly unfamiliar. One of the deepest patterns I encounter is the belief that we somehow have to earn what we receive. Many people carry unconscious beliefs such as, "I need to deserve this," "I haven't done enough yet," "I should give something back," "I shouldn't be a burden." These beliefs can be so subtle that we hardly notice them, yet they influence countless interactions throughout our lives. If somewhere inside you believe that your worth depends on what you do, how much you achieve, or how much you contribute to others, then receiving can feel uncomfortable because receiving asks you to accept something without first proving yourself. And that can challenge the very foundation on which your sense of worth has been built. This is where things become really interesting because struggling to receive is often not just psychological, it is physiological as well. Many people spend years living in a state of doing, always thinking, always planning, always solving problems, always taking responsibility. Over time, the nervous system becomes accustomed to that state. It starts to feel normal. For some people, being busy actually feels safer than being still. And this has important consequences, because receiving requires a very different state. You cannot fully receive while you are mentally managing everything around you. You cannot deeply receive while you are constantly analyzing, controlling, anticipating, or protecting yourself. Receiving asks the body to soften. It asks the nervous system to relax enough to allow an experience to enter. And if relaxation feels unfamiliar, then receiving may also feel unfamiliar. The body doesn't switch that off instantly. It needs time to remember that it is safe. Because I work almost exclusively with women, I encounter this regularly. Many women have spent years, sometimes decades, placing the needs of others before their own, whether as partners, mothers, daughters, caregivers, or professionals. They often become so accustomed to being available for everyone around them that their own desires, boundaries, and well being gradually receive less attention. Over time, this way of living can become deeply ingrained. The focus shifts outward. Caring, supporting, organizing, anticipating, and carrying responsibility become second nature. As a result, one of the things I frequently observe during Tantra massage sessions is that it can take time for some women to truly relax. Their bodies may initially remain alert, even when they consciously want to let go. After years of being responsible for so much, deep receiving is not always something that comes naturally. The body learns those patterns. It learns to stay attentive. It learns to stay prepared. It learns that there is always something that needs to be done. And when a moment finally arrives in which nothing is expected of them and they are simply invited to receive, that can feel surprisingly unfamiliar. Not because they don't deserve it, but because they have spent so much of their lives looking outward that turning their attention inward can feel almost unnatural. Many women have also learned, consciously or unconsciously, that putting themselves first is selfish, that their own needs should come later, or that taking care of others is somehow more important than taking care of themselves. After years of living with those messages, receiving can almost feel like speaking a language that was never properly taught. Of course, many men struggle with receiving as well, but I often see a difference in the underlying pattern. Men frequently struggle because receiving can feel like weakness, dependence, or a loss of autonomy, whereas women often struggle because receiving can feel selfish, uncomfortable, or somehow undeserved. These are, of course, broad observations, and there are many exceptions, but I do think they help explain why receiving can feel so challenging for so many people. Another important piece of the puzzle is control. Most of us develop control for very understandable reasons. At some point in our lives, it helped us feel safe. If we stay alert, we avoid mistakes. If we stay in control, we reduce the chances of disappointment. If we anticipate what might happen next, we create a sense of certainty in a world that is often uncertain. The challenge is that receiving requires something very different from us. Receiving asks us to loosen our grip, not completely and not recklessly, but enough that we allow ourselves to be touched by what life is offering. Whether that is support, affection, care, pleasure, appreciation, or simply the presence of another human being, receiving requires a certain willingness to stop managing the experience and to trust instead. In that sense, receiving is deeply connected to trust. Trusting that we don't have to earn every positive experience. Trusting that we don't need to constantly manage every moment. trusting that something beautiful can arrive in our lives without immediately feeling the need to control it, justify it, or give something back in return. The beautiful thing is that receiving is something we can practice. And in my experience, the path begins with presence. Because the more present we become, the less dominated we are by the stories running through our minds. This is one of the reasons why practices such as meditation can be so valuable. Meditation teaches us to observe rather than constantly react. It helps us become less identified with our thoughts and more connected to our direct experience. Yoga can help in a similar way, not because it's about flexibility, but because it brings awareness back into the body. The same is true for breathwork, mindful movement, dance, spending time in nature, or any practice that helps you move out of constant mental activity and reconnect with the present moment. Because receiving doesn't happen in the future. Receiving doesn't happen while we're analyzing. Receiving happens now. And the more comfortable we become with being present, the easier it becomes to receive. Sometimes people hear the word surrender and immediately associate it with giving up. But that is not what I mean. To me, surrender means relaxing the constant need to control every aspect of life. It means allowing yourself to experience what is already here. It means trusting enough to soften. And perhaps most importantly, it means allowing yourself to receive without feeling that you must immediately earn, justify, or repay what is being given. True surrender is not weakness, it is openness. And openness is what makes receiving possible. Perhaps the reason so many people struggle to receive is not because they are incapable of it. Perhaps it is because they have become incredibly skilled at surviving. They have learned how to achieve, how to take care of others, how to stay strong, how to remain in control. And while these qualities may have served them well, there comes a moment when life asks something different from us. Not more effort, not more striving, but more allowing, more softness, more trust, more openness to what is already trying to find its way to us. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. What do you personally find most difficult to receive? Is it compliments, help, love, support, or perhaps simply allowing yourself to rest? Let me know in the comments below. If you've been listening to this video and recognizing yourself in some of these patterns, you'll find my free Receiving Patterns quiz and ebook interesting. I created it to help people better understand the hidden beliefs, habits, and protective strategies that can make receiving feel difficult, whether that involves support, love, care, appreciation, intimacy, or simply allowing yourself to rest. The quiz can help you identify your dominant receiving pattern, and you'll also find a detailed ebook that explains the different patterns in more depth. Click the link below the video to download it. And if you'd like to continue exploring topics such as receiving, self-worth, embodiment, emotional awareness, trust, and authentic connection, you'll also find an invitation there to join the free Tantra Topics community. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you there.